Hi guys. The last time when I was in a bus, the bus driver did this joke. He was sitting in the bus behind and said, well, if nobody wants to drive, I'm going to drive. So he sit up behind the wheel and started, and half of us left. When we realized he's a driver, he already left. So yeah, I hope half of you would leave. If not, I'm giving 50 euros. Whoever wants to leave the session, let's go for a coffee and let's stop this session. It's even better. No? Okay. So I'm not going to talk too much about us. I think a lot of guys you already know. We are specialized in doing strategy, technology, and everything connected to tokenomics. And as you know, one of our largest projects that we built from ground up in the technology was Celsius Networks. A lot of guys tell us not to talk about it because of the issues which started and stuff like that. But I always joke about it when I talk to some of our clients, that we build technology so good that even our own money is still there. So my personal money is there, company money is there, so even we couldn't get the money out. So I believe that whoever buys it will at least, buy the good technology and we can continue to develop it further. And as you know, some of our teams have been developing on Polygon Edge. So we do know how to bring the big businesses, 30 billion businesses and above. So what is my personal role? I used to be a chief digital officer of the largest Serbian private equity company with more than 800 million euros turnover, 80 million EBITDA, and more than 107 companies across Europe, from banking, from hotels, from all the others. So I think I know a thing or two about how the enterprise think. And this is the biggest issue I faced when joined with my business development team, joined the MVP to see how we can encompass further to work with enterprises. So what is a typical traditional offer that the Web3 offers to an enterprise? It's something like this, right? Do you love this slide? It's everything there. How do you think that a C-level executive feels when he sees this slide? Scared? Stupid? I can say even more words. So what is the traditional offer? The traditional offer is talking about technology. And traditional offer to enterprises is, and we worked with a few of the enterprises, is, oh, we can tell you about, CSR token, or we can tell you about how to do service DAOs and everything else, and he doesn't understand half of the words we are saying. What we need to do is think about how the enterprise look at technology, right? So what they first do is they go to Gartner. How many of you are tracking down Gartner? How many of you are using Gartner reports? Nobody? Have you heard about Gartner? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many of you are using Messari reports? Half of the audience, right? Well, a typical C-level enterprise, and I'm talking about big enterprise executive, pays minimum 80,000 euros per person, per license, to track down Gartner in his own vertical. And you can bet for sure that what he's going to do, that he is going to go and call the Gartner executives to ask him, what do you think about this blockchain? What do you think about this technology? Should I invest? Should I not? And if you look at this is a report from Gartner for 2023. The only thing that talks about anything related to us is metaverse on the 0.9. And even that, if you look at it, I will show you later, the Gartner hype life cycle, it's not positive about metaverse. This is the most important part for us to understand, is not to sell the technology, but to sell the solutions. Because this is what are the typical questions that the C-level executives asks. It's not about technology. He doesn't care about MPC. He doesn't care about, through output and everything else. In the same manner that he doesn't really ask how much Visa has transactions. What he asks is, will this make me money? So will it increase revenues? Or will it reduce cost? These are the only two questions that any C-level executives ask themselves on a day-to-day basis. And anybody who thinks differently is in a shock of a surprise. And I'm just going to, because I'm pretty much sure you read it, I'm going to mention two questions. How is this Web3 solutions going to help me that my current systems are not fulfilling? Because a lot of executives are afraid that, by implementing new technology, they're going to break the old one and they're going to make a disruption to the business. And this is not going to happen. They have to be very, very secure that this is not going to happen, because for them, this is a life surgery. And the last but not the least, even when all of these other without disrupting versus current system is, what can I avoid while waiting to become more mature? So is there a real need for any enterprise to move to blockchain, or this is just a hype? Right? And when you look at this, you come to a position which says, can this lead to a lot of extra work from our IT staff because they're already understaffed? So it's very, very important to ask yourself these questions, how to answer before you go there. Otherwise, the meeting is going to be pretty challenging. And this is what I talk to you. So they always go to either Gartner or to McKinsey or BCG or Deloitte, one of these big companies, to ask them about technology. And if you look at the Gartner, this is from July 2022 for 2023. The new one will come in a month or so I have to use this one. If you look at it, remember my talk about metaverse? What the Gartner says is that metaverse will not even come to the plateau of productivity in 10 years, and it will become obsolete before it comes to a real plateau of productivity. So I just want to show you this so you know what you're facing when you're going there to sell. Or when you're trying to empower them to, because you need to be their advisor. You need to help them come to our side. The last but not the least, if you look at this 2 years or 2 to 5 years, the only thing that they believe it's already reaching plateau of productivity in less than 2 years is cryptocurrencies, blockchain wallets, and stablecoins. So these are the three things they believe will reach it. For everything else, they believe there is more than 2 to 5 years to be there. And most important, for majority of them, if you look, they are not through disillusionment still, right? And if you look what they get from the McKinsey, the light blue color here, if you see, the light blue means it's still not relevant, and the dark blue is relevant. Look at the AI versus Web3. AI is fully in dark blue because it's easy to see. Everybody knows now about ChatGPT. They don't understand half of it, but they do understand that they can go there and for $20 they can type in, create me a PowerPoint presentation on this topic with outline in 15 slides. And he gets a PowerPoint presentation in less than 20 minutes. And this is the real value for him personally, plus all the other implementations, chatbots, and everything else. But this is what you are facing. And the most important thing for the people who never worked with the enterprise is that normal, standard, large type enterprise, they have minimum 5-year plan, 3 to 5 year plan for all the IT technology they're implementing. So for them, it's not about accepting your solution. For them, it's more important what they have to take off the plan that is already adopted in order to implement your solution. So it's not the price that you say they're paying, besides the price they're paying to you and for technology, it's the loss they're paying of something else that they're taking out. And this is what I think the people in the Web3 community needs to understand. Because it's not about me selling the biggest solution I have created, it's what they're going to take out and how to show them it's for them valuable to take something already out and to put something new in. Which is maybe not mature, which Gartner says it's not good. So look, what obstacles are we pushing in order to become, major adoption. But it's not that bad. So let's see how to help them. So we figure out what is the challenge, right? The easiest thing would be for me to leave and I say, oh, I told you what is bad, now let's go. Let me share some examples that we do in order to help you. Maybe some of you would be inspired. So the first thing is to focus on the business outcomes, not on the technology. We, of course, have to tell them about technology. We need to implement technology, and technology needs to work. But this is taken without saying. I'm not mentioning anything about layers. I'm not mentioning anything about bridges, oracles. I'm not mentioning anything about technology because it's expected to work. Or if it's not expected to work, you have to be, trustworthy and tell them, this is experimental. We are going to try together with you and see. But the most important thing is, what is the outcome? And as I said, is it bringing the revenue in or is it decreasing the cost? There is nothing else that is interesting for them. Even if you do any CSR project or whatever we do branding, it's again connected to reducing the cost or increasing the revenue. Because they will invest in branding today to receive money in 3 years from now. But it has to be somehow connected and you need to show the relevance. Second one is discuss the change to business models. A lot of them don't understand the change of business models that Web3 is bringing. The last but not the least here is support the story through references because, like I was sitting in the audience and everybody was laughing, who is this guy getting out, wants to talk? You don't believe me, who am I? If you are going to some C-level enterprise, you need to establish the pattern why you are the person who can talk to them about it, right? Even that 1 hour that he needs to give it to you, he needs to understand it. When I was working in Deloitte and other consulting companies, what they taught me is to make sure that every slide I show is a minimum worth of the time of all the participants times their salary times those 3 minutes that I'm showing. So this is the minimum you need to calculate, right? Or what we say in a startup world, calculate the salaries of everybody present at the meeting and then evaluate if the meeting was really necessary or not. It's the same with them. Even more because they have offers constantly. Start with a big vision, but have a small enough step to step in, because a lot of them don't have a budget. Make sure you know where is their budget cycle and share the risks. Because if you're coming in September and their budget starts from January, it's very unlikely they will invest, unless you're solving a huge issue. But if you're coming in August and saying we want to do some project with you in January, and you know the year is starting in January and the planning is in October, there is a big chance that you at least come to work with them in this experimental budget, because any C-level executive has at least few hundred Ks as experimental budget, right? So it's not they don't have the money, maybe it's the timing, maybe you didn't show the value. This is something you need to understand. And last but not the least, be their trusted advisor, and not just a partner, be there for them. So some of my BizDev guys are always telling me, how much did you spend this weekend with this guy? Because with some large enterprise that we're working, how much? I think at least 20 weekends I was there, like either Saturday or Sunday, talking about something else, or discussing why the Web3 is good, or reviewing his presentation about Web3 and stuff like that. You have to be there for them so they can start trusting you. And then everything else is easier. So what is a focus on business outcomes? First thing that I always tell them is that the Web3 is a community-first approach. It's totally shifting mindset from I'm selling to you. It's about company building a community around the project itself. You don't need a blockchain if you are the only one who is controlling it, right? So it has to be a community effort. Second part is show them all these different revenue models. And when we talk about these different revenue models, especially talk about direct-to-consumer model, which I think Web3 is really useful. And this is how it looks like when you show them. And when you show them some references, then they start understanding that it's not just a few kids playing around, it's a really, really important technology. And then you start explaining the difference in the different models. So let's say wear to earn. Do you know that the companies are paying people to wear their clothes, not to the Instagram influencers? So we are not talking about those guys who are anyhow paid. The company would come into this room and say, who would wear our skirt for next 100 days? And for this, we will pay you. Yes. I'll send your message. There is one person who wants to. And look, these companies, if you show them, A-Day, Woolen, Prince, and Lestrange, are not a Web3 company. It's a traditional business who understood the community building principle. Or if you look at this Atlas Navy, drive to earn. How many of you heard about drive to earn model? You drive and you get money. Huh? One person? The others? No? Well, it's very simple. And across the world, the ESG credits are very important, right? Sustainability and everything else. If you are a car producer and you produce electric cars, what you can start doing is paying your customers to drive cars. So they bought a car from you, but as much time they drive it, you give them some money, because you can take those credits off them and you can use them for your own production. So you don't have to buy it from somebody else. Or Atlas Navy is doing something totally different. They are paying you to drive and use their application. If you are in US, some of you launch it, it's really good. Why? You remember that social experiment that happened in the Scandinavian countries a few months back? When the guy put 100 phones with the Google Maps turned on the trolley and walked around the city and blocked the whole city because Google Maps sent that there is hundreds of cars there and it's a red and blah, blah, blah. What they did in the end, they sent all the cars to our alternative route. And what happened is he blocked the whole city because the other streets couldn't accept so many cars. So now they shift this. You cannot do this anymore. They are checking. But the point with Atlas Navy is that because you're driving and you get money, you are not going to do this. You're incentivized not to do this, because if you do it, they slash the money you earn. Why they pay you? Because they use your real-time data to sell it to the cold storage transport companies. So if you're driving ice cream, if you're driving meat, if you're driving pharmaceutical products, any minute that you spend less on the road means less fuel, less costs and everything else. So you're more than keen to pay for a real-time incentivized data. And this is how the whole community earns, right? This is why I say it's a community approach. And this is the example I told you about the where turn. So it's not about the influencer, it's about regular people getting money. And this is connected to direct-to-customer models. So you're skipping all the advertisement, you're skipping all the things, you're paying your customers directly. So how do we do this? You need to support story to references. You cannot just come and say, believe me, you will save money, or believe me, this product is good. You need to show some references from companies that are bigger and better than you. Use their own Gartner, use the, Wall Street Journal or similar. Or what we do, for every company or industry that we go, we have a list of 250 projects which are successful or less successful that we show to them. So we show them, let's say in pharmacy and automotive player, who are the players? So my story to them is, do not trust me, trust Toyota. Don't trust me, trust Merck, trust Pfizer. Or if you talk about finances, JP Morgan is the largest token asset company in the world. They have the largest platform for tokenizing the real world asset and helping companies launch, collecting money. How many of you know about the KKR fund? The one that in Serbia has SBB and across telecoms and blah, blah. The last fund that they raised was 500 million. Out of those, 400 in fiat, 100 through blockchain. Siemens raised 60 million bond through a blockchain. Germany is one of the best countries for launching a blockchain raising bonds. Very simplified way. And the thing is, when you talk about CFO and you show them this, he wants to listen to you. Because every single CFO, when they hear Siemens raised $60 million bond on blockchain in less than 2 weeks, goes to his CTO and says, how can we do this? First, you need to move to Germany, but still, there are a lot of other things that we can help. Additionally, we start with a big vision and have a small steps into it. So for the large enterprise to get into a blockchain, it's not that easy. What we normally do with the C-levels, we organize a 2-day workshop, where in this 2-day workshop, what we do, we show them, what are the list of 100 projects. We joint with them, create ideas about their own industry. So this is why the previous examples are very important. And then we work with them to select 10 of those. Out of those 10 of those, we do ROI. So you have to show them ROI, how much they will earn, how much they will lose, what they need to do. And from there, we choose 2 projects to do for them. As you know, MVP is end-to-end development company. So we do the projects for them. And at the same time, if they're interested, we can start building their own internal team. So they can take it from there. And this is something we do, as you see, in less than 24 months, or, depends. Second part is, as I said, we create a decisions-making space where we show them how to do it. So we build a space for them to easily select Web3 project, because the most important thing is, I truly believe that even now, 80% of the projects proposed in Web3 shouldn't be built in Web3. And this is what we need to be very open, A lot of things shouldn't be built in Web3. If you are a company and you want your own blockchain, and you are the only owner of the nodes, and it's your own app chain and nothing else, is it a blockchain really? I mean, you can have a decentralized database, destructured, without the need for this. So make sure that we need to do it, because it's still expensive to develop. We create for them strategic initiative cards and similar things. What we do, this is how we do it. So we first start with goal, then we go with the business objective. Is it fixing, basing, catching up, competitive advantage, innovative disrupt? Then we create a business impact, as I said, investment, customer experience, or usefulness, and then means to realize. Do they do it by themselves or somebody else? And last but not the least, we do the rapid experiments with them. So when you define list of 100 of these ideas, what we do, we take hackas, which are 30 minutes only, to go through ideas quickly. If some idea is worth of it, we go with 1 day, 2-day effort in hackathon, and those ideas that are really great, we deploy a team for 7 days to really do a sprint. And then we decide, but why is this important? Fail fast. So if we're going to fail, let's do it quickly. But let's do it with some data, not without anything. And then be there as their trusted advisor. Make sure that you show them that some of the things that you are showing them are not successful. I don't know how many of you know about TradeLens. TradeLens is one of the largest projects that IBM and Merck created in the supply chain industry, in shipping industry. Since 2018, this project gathered more than 10,000 companies. This year in January, they decided to shut it down. Why? It's not because of the technology didn't work. Everything worked as they expected. The reason why they shut it down is very simple. They didn't survive the commercial conditions. So commercially, it wasn't shown to be viable. So Merck decided after more than 5 years to shut it down, because they haven't seen how they can commercialize it. And this is what you need to discuss with them about distributing ledger, tokenization of asset, blockchain interoperability. What are the challenges? Why it's not easy, just go and say, I want to transfer everything on a chain. Or maybe not everything is for the chain. But those projects that are, let's do it together. This is why we create a list of 100 and something projects when we're doing really big employment, and then reduce it to only 2 that we develop. Because this shows them that we really go through it. And The last but not the least, help them join the community. Make sure, as I said, be their trusted advisor. Give them, if you have business model canvases, if you have something, give them some materials they can learn and do it by yourselves. And for everybody who wants to take a picture of this business model canvas and everything else, you don't have to. Go to MVP workshop, you can get it in paper without a problem. It's on our website, you can download it for yourself. You can even take our tokenomics incentive canvas for tokenomic design. So this is how we do it really. So it's not about talking on the presentation, but really doing it. And I invite you all to do the same, because if we jointly do this the same and we show them, I truly believe the next 5 to 7 years, the enterprise are going to be the major power of adoption of the Web3. It's not going to be some small startups somewhere in the garage. And for all of those who think, is it true or not, just think about how the Web2 went to, right? So the biggest companies in Web2 are not a small company in garage. They used to be, and that's cool. Idea starts in a garage. But now all the big companies are corporations. So it will happen the same in the Web3. It's nothing to think about it. That's about it from me. Join us at the stand, grab your copy, and talk to our guys for whatever you need. Thank you. Questions? No?
Yeah, we're open for questions. So
yes, I can run away or I can answer the questions, no problem. Shoot.
Hello, thank you for nice presentation. I have question for these hacks. You said like 30-minute hack, 2 day and 1 week.
Yes.
Are you developing like full app like MVP, or you're just developing an idea and concept
I will
about
show
it?
you very simply. I think some slides are missing from this presentation, doesn't matter. But the thing is, what you are asking is this, right?
Yeah.
The most important thing is you look at the resources. So in katas, you only have 2 guys. You cannot develop anything more than an idea. In 30 minutes, you're just exploring, right?
Yeah.
In 2 days effort, we put idea owner, 2 engineers, 1 designer, researcher, and 1 domain expert consultant. It's really very important that you have a domain expert consultant. It's very hard in any IT to develop something that the people don't need it, right? And here in a sprint, this is just a 1 sprint, right? We deploy almost the full team, and we do everything that is possible with this team in 1 week.
Yeah. So the end product is like
POC, proof of concept or proof of technology.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
I mean, unless the problem is so easy that you can trivially solve it, but then you don't need all of this.
Yeah. Do you think this is maybe also good for some other ideas that are not in Web3?
Fully agree.
Yeah.
Fully agree.
Yeah, very nice. Thank you.
I don't believe that Web3 should invent everything from the scratch, right? We should use the technology in Web3, but everything else, let's use the best practices from innovations and ideation from all over.
Thank you.
Hi, once again, thank you for the presentation. Just a quick question. Are there any companies that implemented the pay-to-research model yet?
Not so. I mean, some are, but the thing is in this, depending on the industry and depending on your brand. So we went against, I will tell you very openly, we went last time against the McKinsey. So we had 1 partner from McKinsey US and 1 partner from McKinsey Singapore when we were doing this for an automotive client, and we won. The level of research they can bring on table is enormous. And the difference between them and us is that they get paid for it. So if you are a McKinsey or if you're a big brand, you get paid for it. The difference is, do you get paid on the first day or do you get paid at the end? So if you can do it, go for it. We always say that certain parts have to be paid. Let's say when we do a discovery, during a project, we require this to be paid. So we don't do discovery for free.
Okay, thank you.
We can come for 2 hours, just chit chat, that's free, but anything that requires 10 of us to be like 2 days, it has to be paid.
Thanks.
Let's go for lunch, yeah? The best. Okay, thanks. Thank you.